end up being one of the most volatile swings that you're going to see in recent memory, I think, with the largest options expiration in the history of basically crypto or Bitcoin. It extends through a lot of crypto, but as a cumulative, it's going to be the largest. And the most pain to be felt would be if Bitcoin ends up going up to that 95 to 96K area. Am I surprised Bitcoin all of a sudden, after looking like trash, all of a sudden in like a matter of minutes pops up a couple $1,000s? No. Am I surprised that XRP dragged down to like $1.82 and then all of a sudden popped back up to almost $1.87, seemingly just trying to liquidate the leverage traders? I don't think it's. I'm not surprised. I think that move down, it doesn't validate our move out because we haven't got over $1.90 for XRP to hold, or even that $1.94 confirmation zone that I like. Bitcoin's not over 90K right now. But what it did is it took out some overzealous long traders that were pre-running the move because they know the liquidity that can happen at 95, 94K with Bitcoin. And essentially what it did with that move down is it liquidated a lot of traders on that move down. And that very well could start to work in our favor here. And I'm aware it's Christmas. I'm aware that there's probably not going to be very many people watching. I don't base my decisions on how many people I think are going to be on. I haven't even loaded up my screen, so I have no idea how many people are watching, to be honest. And I'll look in a little bit. But I wanted to come on because we've been talking about the possibility of a move. In no way does this tell me that the move's guaranteed. In no way. I got to talk a little bit lower too, because my son's sleeping, Michaela's asleep, Julie's sleeping. Scarlett's not home. She went to her aunt's house, which is awesome, except we have an ice storm tomorrow possibly, so it's going to be interesting. But the main reason I came on is because, one, I'm addicted to this. And I'm looking at it on my own, and I'm looking at it going, oh boy, now we got to. Once it started dropping, I'm like, okay, if we can come down here, XRP comes down as low as $1.81, but it holds, gets rid of some of those long leverage traders, we got game here. I was looking at Bitcoin, I'm like, as long as you stay above 85.6 roughly, I'm okay. And I started to think, and I'm like, you know what? My cat is funny. He's playing with something in the hallway. But I was thinking, like, if I'm going to do this on my own, I might as well get out and talk to the people who care about it, because I know there's going to be a few people like me that are going to be watching this, and they're very interested because of what's coming tomorrow. Whether they're in the market or not, if they're just interested in this kind of stuff, they'll understand this is an action moment. So I figured even if there's 10 people that are watching right now on Christmas, I think we could make a run at it. Good evening. 10:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, December 25th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Let's see. So, I know a lot of people are going to be sitting here, and you're going to go, well, I don't understand. How can the price just bounce down, bounce up, everything does it at the same time, and I'll continue to say it, and I'll continue to tell you it again and again and again as many times as you'll listen. The reason why all this happens at the same time is the manipulation, the way everybody thinks it happens, doesn't exist. Point blank. What retail thinks is manipulation, it's not how it works. And I can tell you that unequivocally, because if you're watching, how many times am I out in front of the pattern? I understand the mechanics of it. I understand the nuts and bolts. So the manipulation, like retail thinks it's some big wig, some billionaire sitting in a back room jerking off, while forcing the price up and down in the direction away from their buy. That's what they think manipulation is. They think it's just some asshole who's making it go up and down, and that's the manipulation. And they'll blame it on a different person every day. Oh, it's Trump today, it's Elon tomorrow, it's the federal government, it's the Saudis, it's the fucking Russians, it's the Germans, it's the Mexicans, it's all these other fucking people. So But what it really is you're on a trading algorithm. And all that means is when they want the market to go down in tandem, retail doesn't matter. Retail can buy all they want. They just turn their bot buys off to the top if they want it to go down. So they'll turn the buys off and only let the bots put in the traditional algorithmic sell. That's it. When they want it to go up, they turn off the algorithmic sell and it goes up, but you have to fill area. So for us to go up this morning, we had to hit that resistance. We talked about a back test and we had a nice one. And if we're gonna have a further push up here, I just gotta put this. I gotta put my stochastic back on. I don't know what the hell stochastic it had on, but that's not the one I use. Look like trash. I might have just hit the stochastic on accident earlier. Or maybe they changed the color on it. What the hell is going on there? I hate when they change stuff on it, like the way, whatever. That's fine. But the way it moved down here was a perfect back test because we had a double bottom here with Bitcoin. If you pull it out a little bit farther, you can see the inverse head, little shoulder area, head, shoulder. It back tested this perfectly. It double bottomed here on the breakout area. Remember that hot pink line coming down if you've been here for any length of time? That was our bullish and bearish zone. Did it not work out beautifully that entire way? And now it's using it as support. Now that we're back in the 88,450 area, now we're cooking. Remember earlier? Now we're cooking if we can get on top of the 4 hour. Still got a little bit of work to do, but now we're in the we can cook zone. And we should push up here pretty unabated up into that 90,400 area, in my opinion. We're gonna get overzealous here a little bit in the 4 hourly, but that's just the way it's gonna have to be. We're gonna steadily push into that zone if this plays out. We've got plenty of support in the daily that can help us. Plenty. I mean, look at this. We bounced off and we're breaking beautifully bullish. So, no, if you're buying now, you don't. Yes, you have to be a good trader, but let's not act like we're rocket science here. You just have to understand the wick-off accumulation. Remember, it's a theory. The wick-off's a theory. Or the Elliott wave is just a theory. But if you believe in the Elliott wave, you would know it's more than just a crapshoot here. That wave 4 is expansion before a further push in wave 5 contraction. So yes, you're right. You're right. We do need to understand that this is, for the lack of a better term, a good way to cash out here end of the year and early into January if this plays out in a wave 4. But make no mistake about it, there's a 90% chance that this breaks down farther than where we started at $1.57 on a move up. There's a 90% chance we break below $1 if wave 3 contraction isn't done yet and wave 4 expansion was only to get us back up to where we were already at for XRP. So that's why it's important to make this move up, break back down, keep the structural sound, and you have no idea what would come on a 5-wave move up next. It would blow your dick off. It would legitimately have you standing there just, you didn't even have to take your pants off. You'd be pantsless because you'd forget to put them on you. You just couldn't believe it. And some people are like, well, how much does that mean? Well, I mean, it won't be what some people want, but it's juicy. I mean, it's what I want from buying it at 34 cents because anything getting close to $10 and above, that's 100 grand on 3,500 bucks for anybody just on a 10,000 token scale. So you're talking about life-altering money when you start to get into that range. It already has for a lot of people what it did before, but you haven't seen nothing yet. But you have to be willing to play the market like it's meant to be played here. So, no. My vision here, where I've bought in, and I'm heavily bought in, as you know, trying to pre-run this move that's starting. And I've talked about it for days, the last couple of days, and I've been ridiculed a lot because people are like, oh, you're going to ruin your reputation. What reputation? I don't change anything. My reputation is always the opposite of what everybody says. So the contrarian view here is we think it's going to go up, as we've been saying, because of the wave 4, because of the historic amount of options that are expiring tomorrow, not just for Bitcoin, not just for XRP, but throughout crypto. Bitcoin, the amount of pain that can be felt if we come up to 95,000 is unbelievable, and that could trigger a short squeeze that could push us into that rising wedge resistance area, and that's plus 100,000. Now, no one's guaranteeing that's going to happen. In fact, I would say we're at best we're optimistically, we're very skeptically optimistic. How about that? Because we understand the volatility in crypto, and at any time they could just say the hell with this, and we could go the other way. So, you know, you have to have your place set up in a way to where no matter what happens, you feel good. You have an understanding of what's going on. There's a few things right now that have already made us a little bit happy here. Now, algo is up about 7-8% from where we ended up re-entering. We've had Linea, which is up, you know, getting up to 10-11% now since the re-entry. You know, Shiba's flat from earlier. Band's up, you know, about 4% from the re-entry. Nothing major. You know, Axelar off the bottom bounced up a little bit, but it's still trailing. There was an opportunity here, as we've talked about, with this line. You want to buy as close to that line as you can, and it came close here. And now here it didn't come all the way down, but this is where this is basically, both of these candles is basically where on the nuts right now. But, you know, there is a fractal that's working down, as some will mention in here, and I understand the fractal, but remember, to get these lower targets, you need to get some support from above. You got to trap more and more and more. The good news is, though, is gold, silver, back online. Futures markets starting to open back up, especially in the COMEX. And when you look at gold, what does that tell you right off the bat? Gold shot up 32 bucks on the right when it came back online. Oh my God, I was gonna say, holy fuck, silver did that. Oh fuck, I've been paying attention to crypto. It went up 4% on the open. Jesus God, we're up to almost $75. Look at that. We got a Christmas pump, baby. It was in silver. Holy shit. Oh my God. Did it really? If this continues, we're going to wake up to one hell of a movement in commodities tomorrow. Oh my God. 4%. No, that's the other thing with tax harvesting. I believe that's already been taken care of. They could have think about these drops that have happened for tax harvesting in December, where you could have sold all of this. Let's say they were at loss. They could have sold it all, rebought it before this big move up. If it's going to happen here, and it's not a massive move, but let's say you go 30-40%. Now they don't have to worry about this year. It goes into next year, and even if they sell it for a gain, if they want to reposition, they got a whole year to worry about tax harvesting as the year goes along. Think we missed the real wealth transfer. No, you didn't. You're in it. What are you talking about? How did we miss it? How does everybody say we missed? No, you're in the middle of it. Maybe you individually didn't take advantage. I'm in the middle of the wealth transfer. I can promise you. These are the first comments I see when I turned it on. It's funny. And I love it because I hustle harder than you. But I promise you, friend, if you did it right, you're in the middle of it. Do you have gold and silver, precious metals? If not, yes, you're missing it. Also in crypto, the wealth transfer, a big part of it was in 24, right? In 23, accumulate in that push in 24 and earlier on in the earlier days. But in the recent days, your big transfer still is coming. It's still coming because of wave 4 to 5 breakdown, and then that 5 moves up. Most people aren't going to even know it hit them. I'm telling you, that's going to be your big move again. Right now, we don't even know what's going to happen. But seeing silver at 4%, oh baby, does that makes you go, hey, holy moly, that's a big move. I wonder if it'll just come right back down. That means there's an overwhelming demand as it came back online. I wasn't expecting 4%, I'll be honest. $3. That's a, ooh, that's a that's a doozy. I don't know. I just can't believe that that would continue. But I mean, in Shanghai it's at 80. So as some have said in the audience, so we'll just have to see how crypto responds to all of this. Um, oof. Yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah, today most of my tax from gains, taking profits next. Mm-hmm. Didn't think of that. I was working on the impression that they had to rebuy on January 1st. In crypto, I mean, think about it. You're not taxed until you sell when you sell an asset. So if you sell it out before the end of the year, you can buy it back. But listen, we're going to have ultra volatility. I don't know if this is the place to bounce yet or not. Okay? We don't know. We could very well be doing the siphoning act, grab these people, and all of a sudden everybody gets overzealous, and then we just drop out the floor. You know? So we don't know. This is the biggest unknown right now because of all the stuff that's happening at once. Because there is still the optic here that wave 3, in theory, could fall down, go down to $1.57 area, and then we play back up, and then all of a sudden the fourth wave that's expansion ends up only getting us back to like $2 or $1.90 instead of 260 area, if that's where we were meant to go. Think about that. And then if we don't go to 260 or 240 or somewhere up in that range, when we drop back down farther, we very well could be under $1, and then we're going to get another chance. I'm missing time. Sadly, didn't never think about gold and silver. How didn't know about crypto until January. Yeah, that's not your fault, big dog. One of the truest things that I've ever thought, like that I think of even today, one of the truest things is the longer that we're in school, the more education we get, the dumber we become when it comes to world economics and how to actually, you know, to function from an economic standpoint. So basically, the longer you're in school, the less knowledge you have when it comes to the way the real world works. And if you think about it, and this isn't a dig at any professor that's out here, you know, you can get somebody teaching classes like in an actual school that are trying to tell you what somebody in the field actually does. So would you want the guy teaching you who's never actually worked in the field? Or do you want the guy teaching you who actually understands what's going on in the field, just doesn't have the piece of paper to tell you that he's the guy who's the smartest guy in the room? In my personal experience, I would rather have the guy with the field experience to teach me. The hell with the guy who's going to read it out of a textbook if they've never got their hands dirty. That doesn't do me any good. You know, I've had business classes where the guy teaching me business has never had a business, but he's telling me how to run a business. That doesn't work. No, yeah, it's that's another thing like that. I know it's at $1.86 right now, but like if I would have started this, like if everybody would have left my house like 20 minutes sooner, 30 minutes sooner, we could have seen this in real time. Look at how far it came down. It came all the way down to $1.82. And now it looks like a nice, maybe that's what propels it out, but look at this from a standpoint of somebody who went into leverage earlier, right? Maybe they opened up a 30x trade and said, oh, we're fine. Look at this. We're way up here. It's going to go up. We're going to the moon. We got all this, we got these options expiring, wave 4 starting. And then all of a sudden they go eat their Christmas stuff and they come back and they're like, oh, yeah, what the hell's going on here? And the crazy thing is the average retail trader, and I often thought about this, and I think I have the proper understanding now. The average retail trader, their average leverage trade is the average, the number one fantasized, the number one used, and the number one data that can be collected when it comes to retail. Their most preferred choice is 35x. Always makes me go, oh my God, 35. Wow. Well, think about it. And I used to think about it, but think about it. If you have $100, but you want to trade $3,500 worth of something, 35x, you got $3,500 worth, and then in front of you it shows you have 3,500 worth. Yeah, this is leverage trading. This is from the futures. Um, but that's what people like. So when I start to watch the chart, sometimes I go, okay, well, this is what can start to happen. So when you look for liquidity, if I was making it tailor made so that I would have a guarantee, not a guarantee, but if I wanted to have a confirmation beyond confirmation, this drop down here is everything. It came back through the support breakout, pushed right back up and now look, we had a push up. Now if it's gonna break up, this is where in theory, and yeah, we have to validate the move that just happened. So you're gonna get stuff like this. It had such a big move out right away. You want to have it correct and then retest and then push out again. And it came up to the 30. You're just gonna see this when you break down the time frames. See how it came down, now it's squeezing back up. This is what you want to see, if it can hold. And then you'd want it to retake back here. And then you kind of just do this as you just pull it out. And then you need it to get to the 2 hourly, which is going to be the next important factor, which is what it's trying to do, reversing the 2 hourly. And then the big move would be coming up here to $1.94. That's the big area. Getting over $1.90, we can start to push out in a real way. But if we can't and we break back down below $1.84 and we start breaking down, I'm going to put it this way, if we make a new low here and we come down below $1.82.5, we are going to have a problem, because if we lose $1.81, it's going to be a problem. You can't invalidate this head. Like, we need this to be like we talked about before, we need this to be like down through again. Remember how we did the inverse head and shoulders in the short term? We talked about this. That's what we want. That's how we want, exactly how we want it to build. Let me get rid of these circles. I know it's for a wider part for the lows, but I need this to not get in everybody's way for a sec. I don't care. I like the minute stuff, but for where we're at right now, we gotta get rid of this minute stuff. I liked when we were in the moment, but now we're in a different moment. Okay. So let me do this again. And if you don't know what an inverse head and shoulders is, it's the woman's ovaries. So if you ever wonder, just think of the woman's ovaries. Well, if they're the woman's mechanical makeup or internal makeup is beautiful. That's why the pattern goes up when it looks like the woman. I'm just saying, it's true. So, because that's everything that's beautiful. Then when you get the man, you get some of these weird patterns like well, I don't want to go over it right now, but you get you guys know what pattern I'm talking about. The hanging nuts pattern, as we call it sometimes, back in the day. The dong, well, anyhow, let's just talk about this good pattern. So we've got what looks like you're riding on an inverse head down to an inverse shoulder. And this whole thing, I could argue, you came through here, right? And then it built the shoulder here after it broke down, because this was trying to make something and it broke down. So it started its own pattern. So if this was some kind of a pattern here, it broke it down. And then it created its own shoulder into a head, into another shoulder. So now I'm going to delete this. Whoops. Good, I wanted to delete that anyhow. I can put that back after. I need to delete this. And then I can show you it perfectly, now that I explained what I was looking at there. And now, the beauty of this is you're on the breakout of a descending pattern consolidation. And this would be the back test in this little micro frame. So let's get this back out. And I know sometimes it's hard to see when it looks like we're bearish, which we very well might still be if this gets invalidated. All I can say is get out your fucking parachute, because we're going to be falling pretty quickly. So left shoulder, down to a head, right shoulder, boom. That's what we need to do. And we do. We need to go. And then what we'll end up doing if we can start to do this is we'll find ourselves, because I truly believe still we haven't broke down and we're still in a bullish megaphone. I believe it. Now, this little line that was formed, it caught us. And that's that hot pink line is the death trap, because that is what we needed to get out of before we squeezed here and broke down. So as long as we squeezed here and broke out, now we can build our layering back up. And in time, the first squeeze area is going to be up here towards $2, but we have to confirm it by first getting over $1.90 and holding $1.94 because we have a short-term resistance there. So I think that's about the best way that I can explain that. And I would go through saying hi to everybody, but then I'm going to get too loud, and I want to have a, my tone needs to be like this right now. I can't explain it. It just needs to be like this. I need to be like this more often. Nice, calm, collected, not loud, not in your face. Your friend, we're friends here. We're all trying to figure this out together. Nothing's certain, nothing's guaranteed. But we're trying to do the best we can to try to figure this out in a very volatile moment. What about that dragon pattern we seen last year this time? Ooh. I mean, we've talked about it being a possible dragon pattern, but right now, oof. Hold on, let me look at it on this chart. I mean, you never know. You never know the way that's dragging out, actually. Remember what we did last year when I had the dragon pattern? I wonder if I can find that same thing. Remember how I superimposed it on mine? Ugh, dragon pattern. Charts. Not the butterfly. Ah, I superimposed this on mine last time, remember? I actually cut this out. Hold on. Let me, if I can take a screenshot of this, I could do it again. I wish I still had it. I don't know what happened to it. Let's see. And this is gonna take, like, steps. Because I need the dragon. Whoever created... Oh, son of a bitch. Whoever created the dragon, I appreciate it. But I'm gonna steal it. No offense. And it's not to steal your work. I just need the damn dragon. I don't need anything else. Okay, we'll do it like this first. Price resolution. Okay. Now I gotta do it again. But now we gotta do it a different way. We gotta go... They updated this since the last time I did this. Let's see. No, I don't want stickers. I want to edit it. Hold on. Okay, so I need to cut this out. Let's see how the fuck this done. It's the one thing I hate when they change all this. Let's see. Give me this thing. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Aha. That's all I wanted. Done. Save. Hello, friend. Okay, so. If you're talking about it from here, and you want to know if this is a dragon pattern on here, I need to overlay it. But I'm going to have to... Well, I don't want to use this one. Which one did I have? Let's just get a fresh chart where I can just... This is fun to do this. I know some people might leave while we're doing this, but just... You might learn something tonight. If you stick around for a little bit longer. Sure, there's a process, but every good thing has a process. I always try to tell people everything's a process. You try to skip the process, you're going to miss out. Don't be that guy who skips the process, please. Okay, so... Whoops, I took my picture there. Look at that. And perfect. That's fine. We can use you. I wish they would have had the tail come down farther. That's the only thing I don't like how this fucking dragon is. My other dragon was better than this. No offense to this dragon, but it was better than this dragon. This isn't big enough. Actually, nah, this one's not. It's kind of like this, but it's not set up perfectly. That's the problem. That doesn't mean anything, though. Well, yeah. Oh, that's in the 2 hourly. That's what it is. I need to go to a bigger time frame. But no, it does mean something, though. It does mean something. Oh, yeah, it is higher up. I forgot I was in the 2. I was like, that doesn't look... Could be this right here. How it imposes on here. But it's not that it doesn't mean anything. It's called recognition. It's pattern recognition. Say raw. Ah, this audience. We love it. Okay. So let's go into the daily review. I'm just curious about something. And this is the jankest. I wish I had my dragon. My dragon was cool. You guys remember my dragon from last year. Much better than this dragon, but I'm trying to do this on the fly here. Oh, it's been a long day. No doubt about it. A long day. Hey, buddy. I told you it sets up, but it doesn't do exactly like I want. But, I mean, it's not horrible. You could even do it like this. But I need to get the other one because it actually has the head to where it's not tilted up like that, to where it's actually kind of crouched down. This is tilted up. It's throwing me off. It's supposed to be more like that head is up. I don't like it up. But I mean, you're just trying to recognize something. So if there's something there. The dragon pattern is essentially hidden both versions. Absolutely. And like if you look at it, you can almost see how you've got this here. Oh fuck, this is my other one here. I gotta edit this in real time. Forgot. Let me because you can see, like you can basically look at over here. Oh, fuck, I forgot I got this stupid thing. Draw. Here we go. No, that's too big. Let me use this. That's way too big. Actually, you know what? It disappears, though. I kind of like that. Let's go to finer. Ah, perfect. So, see right here? How this... So, if you look at the head, the body, the leg, down to the body, and then the breakout... So this would kind of be like the head, down to the body, down to the further extension, and then you push out. But that would get you back up. It's not like you're going into some crazy area. You're just coming back up that. You're just finishing it up. Come up the tail. Even if you come up the tail, we would be... Here, let's go back to the stupid picture. Let's get this off. Alright, now you do. No. There we go. I like when you try to show people and then they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. Doesn't it? It means something. Why does it have to mean nothing? Why does everything always have... Look at that. Why does everything always have to mean nothing? Can't it mean something? And you're not saying it's breaking the bank. Roar! Somebody says, but I can't do it. I don't know how to roar like a dragon. I can't get too loud. And then, yep, that would also create the essential breakdown. Hey, if you guys like what I do on this Christmas day, consider giving me a present, a Christmas present by joining Tom's Army. Or better yet, gift a sub to somebody else on this beautiful Christmas. My second live of the day, did a content earlier, but I mean, you can see the dragon pattern in there. I like, but I would say if you're trying to actually do it because of the breakdown being right here, you'd probably do it like this. But I know it, well, actually, no, it kind of fits right here. If you put it in the right scale, that doesn't look bad. If you're honestly looking at that, that doesn't look bad. Honestly, it doesn't look bad at all. I've seen much worse. Oh, yeah, we want to go like this. So basically, you got, you're consolidating through here, down, create this. But when you come up to do this, this is exactly what's going to break the further drop down. Probably into this area. So like you have structure, structure, up, double top, down is what it's probably going to happen. So if you're watching it, just be aware. In no way am I saying like this is just going to continue up. But yeah, the dragon, hidden bullish divergence. I love whoever said that. I really do. And all you're trying to do is you're trying to find patterns and you're trying to find little keys that are telling you like, okay, well, this is an anomaly. It's going against. It's going against. But just because it's going against, you know, doesn't really mean much. And it's funny because, oh, we're up 1.55%. But are we? Are we? Aren't we only up 1.5% because at the end of the candle, last candle, we had a bigger drop? You know, and then we corrected up a little bit. But isn't it ironic that everything took the same tug up too? Algo's the one that's making me pretty happy. Algo's, to me, I feel like Algo's trying to show us something as we move up past these time frames. 2 hourly, it's already retaken it. And now it's fighting the 200 day, and that's where we would push up to the next layer. This is seemingly exactly what XRP was doing. This looks exactly the same. Think of the dragon pattern and how it started to play out now. Like, it almost looks, all of these almost look the same. But this is starting to round. This is an absolute, it almost looks like it's setting up by design. I wish I could guarantee it, but there is no guarantees in life. And I am not a financial advisor, so I'm not about making guarantees. I just like what I'm seeing. If I was setting this up, this is exactly from an algorithmic standpoint what I would have done. So there's nothing I can really argue with. Like, I can't argue with any of this setup because this is what I would have done. I would have dragged the longs through the mud there in a very quick fashion to where they couldn't even have thought. And then what I would have forced out, retail, when they seen it go down like that, they would have just thought it was falling off a cliff. So they would have sold out, and then about an hour later, when it reversed, they would have been bashing their heads through the wall, even on a few percent. I'm so happy to have this, though. This is, Julie bought me this. How lucky am I to have somebody like Julie for the last, we've been together since 2014. So, for the last, like, 12 years now. Very, very lucky and blessed because she's a great person. She got me the amethyst crystal, but she got it in the cross. I was looking for it and I decided not to just in case. She ended up finding it and she did. And I'm so happy to wear it. So, I mean, you can't really see it, but that was very thoughtful. She bought me, let's see. I like this Tom analysis explanation was awesome with this Tom very clear. This is why I have to talk lower. When I talk lower, I'm more detailed. I've noticed that. Like when I put my hat on, people think it's more bullish, but when I talk lower, you're gonna get better information. I've come to realize that when I watch my lives back, I'm like, oh, I'm in a much better mindset. Listen to his pitch. That means he's business. When I talk like this, I'm business. I'm focused. Anyhow, the total's at 2.95 trillion, up 1.55%. I like exactly what it's doing. Everything about this I like. Back tested this breakout point perfectly. That was like our make it or break it. You got to stay. That was our arrow when we were pointing down. I was showing it last time. I forgot to delete it like this. But this resistance over the top, beautiful. Beautiful. Once you get below it, uh-oh. But when we hold this, we should bounce back up. We should have some kind of bounce back up. Now, is it going to come all the way up to 3.8? Debatable. If Bitcoin comes up to 100K, 100 and something K, okay, well, we can talk. because we're going to have to pick up some expansion here in the total crypto market cap before some contraction, because that's just the way it's going to have to go. And you never usually have further huge collapses after a breakdown without a retest. Everything about this tells me that we need to retest that breakdown of that rising wedge, which is similar to what you would see in Bitcoin in the total crypto market cap. Everything about it tells me that, and that would be the yellow line above. That's a rising wedge, and the fact we haven't broken it down and back tested it is a very big key. The fact that we still need wave 4 expansion before wave 5 contraction under the Elliott wave theory, under its own rules. Now, it's just a theory after all, so if it doesn't play out, they would say, oh, well, it was just a theory anyhow. But then when it works out, they say, see, the Elliott wave's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But when it doesn't work out, it's just a theory. But when it does work out, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So, say that 3 times fast. It's all an illusion. Thank you for not only being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge, but also gifting a sub. Yahid, welcome into Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And that is my face superimposed on that emoji badge. I kid you not. I honestly kid you not. It truly is. So that's the total. Oh, the other thing, we talked about it earlier real quick, the USDT dominance, and we talked about what we needed to happen. And fortunately right now, it's given us a little blessing. What we needed was this to top out here. We talked about it earlier, not to come back above here. And this isn't the all-time breakdown for the USD. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. If this happens, it would come back down here probably. Well, maybe not all the way. It could. In this scenario, it very well could, because we're going to need to take some of this dominance back and put it into the actual tokens out of the stable. So it very well could. Under this scenario, I don't know if we're going to go down that much. Actually, we probably would, and I'll tell you why. In this scenario, we probably would, and I will tell you why, and I will be very happy to do so. If we play up like that, we're going to have to drop considerably. So if this ends up building something like this, and then you can say you built out a cup, then you break out to the further expansion, you would need to give yourself a little bit of mojo. Maybe that's how we're going to do it. It's no different than we did here. Well, that actually came all the way. I don't expect that big of a pull. I think it would maybe be that much at worst. But I still think we come up here at some point. But I could see this putting in a little handle here and coming down. I do like that, actually. I do like that. If it wanted to come through, you'd probably look at it more like... Let me get rid of this. If you're coming through like a handle, you'd look at it here, and then you start here, and you start to pull down. Then you come through here, and you start to pull out. And then if it breaks through here, then you expand down. And then you say, okay, well, maybe we're doing something like this. Bounce off of here and get out. You know, so you don't sell yourself short if it breaks here to say this pattern broke down. No, it just needed a little bit more of a consolidatory moment. So that's that. And then it would ultimately come back up here. It never retest. Well, it did retest it here, actually. Let's see. That's that make it or break it line. Let's take this out a little bit farther. This one's a little bit different because this is the total 3. I forgot. The total 3, by the way, if you don't know, is everything besides Bitcoin and Ethereum. The total crypto market cap is everything, and the others is everything outside the top 10 by market cap. I'll continue to tell that every time we talk about this so that you remember. Wish I could change that, but now I gotta move it myself. Alright. Whoops, I want to get rid of this. So, get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's just do this officially. So, either come down, you keep building this out, which is more than likely what we should be doing. So that's how I would look at it. If that's a handle, you should be building this out. So if we got rejected, remember, it's 3 hits on each side for a pattern. 1, resistance, support, support. I guess you hit it 3 times here in the daily, which is interesting. Resistance. How are we looking in the 4-hourly? Ooh, that's trash. Only 11 minutes. Excellent. That's going to be a very bearish candle if it ends like this. This is what we need. We need the start of a little bit of a push down to 200. That would be nice. And then have an overzealous push at that. I want to see an overzealous push. Whether or not it's going to happen, we don't know. But I would love to see an overzealous push here. Might not have that big of an overzealous push. But hey, that leaves you room back down here to the percentile of 5.64%. But I bid you a pay attention. If we break above this line, it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. We still got a lot of room over the top. I didn't draw that out for no reason a while ago. I firmly believe with this inverse pattern that it's probably going to drive up here at some point. Now, after a push up here, now you expand through. I would not be surprised to see some contraction here at all. At all. And that would give us the ability to run out with the USDT. Now, the total 3, I'm sorry, we were in USDT. I don't know why I said that. But we're in the total 3 right now. But USDT was the other one we were looking at. Sorry, I'm talking about 150 different things at once. It's bound to happen. I mean, misspeaking. So this would be on the breakdown. I don't want you to focus on the breakdown so much yet. What do you need before breakdown? A fantastic, all-inspiring, and collective effort to retest 882. And that would be the breakdown out of this pattern right now. And we could still save ourselves, but that would be a firm rejection. We've exhausted almost this entire wick again. But a nice retest up here. Maybe it comes up here to 916. It just depends how long it takes. But I expect some very strong volatility here. Very strong volatility. And with the total, or the others, which continues to trend in the right direction right now for a little bit of a move up, like we're trying to front run here. If it happens. I mean, this is still doing exactly what I like to see. There's nothing wrong with this. We're looking for a further rejection, trap a few more people, and probably, I mean, the fact that we were unable to push farther down, there is a chance we come back up to 218, you know, and retest that. There's a chance we could break out of here too, but until we do, you know, it's just we're in a consolidation. It almost feels like XRP's just stuck. I feel like every time I come on, it's at the same spot lately. Very violent breakout to the upside when that dragon plays out, much like that Q1 runway. Yep. I remember we were talking about the dragon pattern early in the year after the correction. And then once it finally broke out, I think it was around April, wasn't it? April, we finally broke back out and had a volatile spike up, and XRP actually had all-time highs out of it. This probably won't be the same because, well, we're going to have contraction before the true expand. Right. But you're going to see, like, it's going to seem like all of a sudden we're just stuck, and then all of a sudden you're going to look and we're at $1.92 if this starts to happen. Then you're at $1.97, and then you're going to be like, well, wait a minute. I was contemplating buying it at $1.86, or Bitcoin was at 88,000. Now all of a sudden it's at 90 if this happens, and you're like, well, this is different. So I think it's going to come in quick bursts. Now what's going to happen with Asia? That's going to be a question. Right now, the Dow futures looks like it's down about 29. S&P's down $1, and the Nasdaq is down 3.7 or up 3.75. The other thing that scares me is I know, because I read it and I understand what it means, the language. 2026 is a lot different than 2025 for us as people. So the ways that work now are going to work less in 26, and by 27, and you're not even going to recognize what we're doing right now. That's the scary part. There's a lot of things that go into effect after December 30. I am very nervous about next year. Ever since I was in a relationship with Julie, I've been talking about 2026 because of some of the things that are in there. And even she's like, what do we do now? Because we're only like 10 days away from that, or 6 days away from actually flipping. I'm like, it's not going to be the day one, but as you progressively get into 26, you're going to see an agenda narrative built, and more than likely that narrative is going to push us into World War III, unless you take out a different agenda, which would be maybe it's Project Bluebeam, maybe it is a fake alien invasion. I don't know. But something's got to happen that captures our attention, because we're actually having a flip from the old system of trash money, which is currency, which is an IOU, which a unit of debt used to be redeemable in gold, and that's what the US dollar was. It was essentially a gold note. This is a gold note on paper that guarantees that you can take delivery on this much gold. And the reason why someone's going to take this dollar, this note, this unit of debt, is because it's backed and guaranteed by gold. So if you give somebody else this unit of debt for services, they can go get a bar of gold. It was, for the layman's, the gold standard. Now we have that same piece of trash dollar, but it's not backed by anything, and somebody takes it for services, and they don't realize they just sold out a unit of debt, an IOU. All ends meet, and they're meeting now. If you think gold and silver did this by accident, oh, what comes next are you going to be really, really, really out the pasture. Remember, gold and silver doesn't make you richer. Gold and silver just stores your value from yesterday. So then people are like, well, Tom, weren't we talking about gold when it was at 1600 on this channel? Yes. And weren't we talking about silver when it was at 1670? Yes. And it would have been cheaper if I would have started this channel sooner. But, so silver hasn't gone up to 74. Our US dollar's devalued by that much since we started together on this journey. Gold hasn't gone up from 1600 to 4500. Our dollar's devalued by that much. When you start thinking about it like that, it becomes very clear that crypto is not the store of value, but crypto, if you can find a moment before a volatile move or a segment of space where it's got to do this, you catch it from the bottom. Like right now, we're screwed because we caught it. And right now, if you would have caught the top, you're catching 5 waves down, and every single time you get a little bit of 30-40% move, you just feel like you're getting kicked in the dick, and now you're down 60-70 from that move that just happened. And that's how it's meant to be until the 5th and final wave. Well, let's pray to God we're out of the 3rd wave and this is the start of the 4th wave. Otherwise, oh, we're not going to be very happy. I'm telling you right now, because then that continuation down on the 3rd, it's not going to be pretty. We just need this to be the 4th. We need to expand a little bit, just to contract, and then you got to understand, once we get out of the 5 waves down, then you start the 5 waves up, and that's going to be the historical 5 waves. And nobody knows when it's going to start. Everybody puts timelines on everything. The fact that 27 people have left is amazing. Oh, it's amazing. That kind of irritates me in a way, but they don't know any better. I have pity for some because I wish they would stay and learn and understand and get ahead. But those same people will be back later, unfortunately, when it's too late. Oil is going to be huge. That's going to be the next frontier. And it's like, because of the time in history, I don't know if oil is going to do exactly what I want it to do. I don't know if it's really going to break down. I could argue with myself and say, Tom, with the environment, maybe it doesn't do that, but, every single time in history preceding a war, we had a big breakdown in oil. And you know what? It's had a big breakdown again, but just not what I'm used to when it's about to push into that last narrative. But we'll get into oil later. But oil's down 54%, but I was looking for something like, hey, let's come back down to $20, but I don't think it's going to come down there. So I would say if it could come down somewhere near 30, 35, or 35 to 40 maybe would even be tolerable. But who knows? Every single time, though, it's played the same structural field before a breakout. Up to resistance, down to support, back up, down to support, minor move to support, back up. So is it going to do the same thing and come back down to that safety area? That's always been its safety area. Always. Even when it had the overzealous drop. And this was because of the pandemic. So I would just take that out and throw it away. Because that's... So... Just like I would throw it away right now, like, hey, we might have started off up at, $3 up right when the futures open, but you got to throw it away for a minute and see if it all corrects back down. There's overzealous buying. The fact that we're at 74, I don't even know what to say. Like, what do we say? I remember when it was at 56 just a few days ago, and we were saying, oh, well, it's guaranteed to go up to 69 because Samsung bought from the Mexican mine at $69 an ounce when it was still at like 57. And everybody's like, why did they pay $12 more an ounce? Well, now they paid $6 less an ounce. Look how fast that happened. That's crazy. It can't hit 20 because the dollar is being crushed. Which one can't hit 20, Mr. Stott? Sorry, I think I'm reading in between your comments to somebody else. Oh, you're talking about, yes, okay, I got you. Oil. Yeah, I think you're right about that. That's why I was saying I think we might have to settle with 35.40. I don't think it'll get down to 20. With the environment, I don't even know if it's going to be able to get down to 35.40. But thank you, Mr. Stott, for being on Time Zone 3+ months with the XRP Media. I hope Mrs. Stott is doing great on this Christmas as well. I was blessed to see her earlier today in here, which was awesome. Some people are like, why do you come in every day, even on Christmas, New Year's, family issues, all that? Because this is more than the charts. We started to build a family in here, and only the people that come here every day understand what I'm talking about. You know, it's a little bit different. So, it makes me happy to be here. I know my time is thin tonight because I don't want to wake anybody up. Oil versus silver, gold, and all that. Yeah, absolutely. And the silver shortage too. Somebody brought up as a big reason why. And Mr. Stott, you bring up a great point with oil, what that relates to silver and gold. When gold and silver is railing this much and oil's cheaper, it makes production a lot easier for gold and silver companies. More revenue, more cash on hand, because when oil's cheaper, it's much cheaper to pull the gold and silver out of the ground. So you figure for all these corporate places, if they keep oil cheap while they're getting this out of the ground, I mean, it all parallels too. It's crazy. Amen. It's not as far-fetched as some think that Trump would revalue it, because the sitting president actually has the ability to reprice gold as he sees fit, which is something that was pushed in there when they went off the gold. You guys have to look at it. I don't want to get into all of that, but it's there's a lot of stuff to learn if you're willing to learn. There's a lot of stuff to learn. Bright Future says, love the calm tone live tonight. See, I told you, that's what I was saying. I feel that too when I'm watching it. I feel like it's a much more, I don't know what it is about when I talk lower and I'm calmer. It's just, there's something about it. But with that being said, I'm going to go here in a minute. I know the 4 hour just closed, somebody was saying, so we can look at that before I leave, but I do have to go. I don't want to be too loud because everybody's sleeping and I don't want everybody to wake up, but right now, look at that 4 hour candle. That's a beautiful, right now, this looks like a reversal, and if this can pull up now, it's our job here in this 4 hour candle to try to break to a new high and get above $1.88. And then ultimately start pushing back up. I know we have a lot of charts for XRP. It's by design. We have to have these charts, but this is the most important one if you're watching it right now. Either this one or the way that we have this one set up for the back test. Although this is outrunning it now, so I guess the other one would be the more appropriate one now, wouldn't it? And all we're trying to do is play back into this chart. Well, not this chart. This one. When we get out of here, once we play out of this, we're trying to get to this one. Oops. Not this one. Because we're trying to, I still think we're in a megaphone pattern until it breaks down, although it might have turned into a dragon pattern, and if that's the case, I mean, it just gives us more optics in the short term. I mean, that would be the micro dragon pattern. We could start the dragon from here. Like, if I would have had the bigger dragon, like I wanted, this is where I would have started it. I showed you the micro one, but if you look at it from a bigger perspective, you could actually have the head down here to the body, down into here when it scraggles off up like this. You could technically do that. I just chose to do it from a lower perspective because of the pattern. But you could take this out into the weekly and make it look even bigger. Well, we'll discuss all that later. But right now, the important part is this 4 hour candle. The fact that it could be reversing here. A lot to be determined here in the Asian hours. Hopefully the Asian market comes in strong. A lot to watch here. Merry Christmas, everybody. They dragging us down to lower prices. I mean, they could. There's no doubt about it. But with these options expired, we'll see. We'll see exactly where they want to pull us. We'll see if they drop us down. We'll see if they run us out and then drop us down. We'll see exactly what they do. There's going to be a lot to watch here. But if it's going to break out, we want to see something like what I drew out here. We don't really want to be pulling down anymore. Pull up Telegram, clear fifth wave on the 4 hour. Really? Well, I definitely need to pull this up real quick. Whoops. How did I do that? That was on key. Oh, up here. MQ. Four, five. Ooh. So that correction down finished off the micro fourth wave. Interesting. I didn't even think about them that way. Well, if that's the case, we should build a W here and form ourselves back up. We have a... all the way down. Okay. Oh, you're talking about right. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let me see if I missed anything else. I like to read the comments because I know MQ was typing above too. Hey guys, look at the chart. 4 hour. Yep, that's the one. So if this is 5 waves down, does that mean we're going to start a fresh micro 5 wave up? And I love that it tapped that fib too. I hit the one, which one? This just tapped. The 0.69. Now back up to the 0.5 and the 0.32. Well, it's at the 0.5 right now. I mean, the way I'm reading this, I'm glad that you validated that because this looks like it exhausted the 5 waves down. And you do a phenomenal job. You and Nick do a great job with these fibs. I like it, actually. So basically what he's saying is 1, 2, down to 3, up to 4, exhausted down to 5, which means now we should be able to do a fresh 5 wave. Well, let's just say it comes up, but technically this should have, if that's the 5th and final wave down in a 4 hour time frame in the micro, that should have shown us the exhaustion there. Really, that should. If that's the case, I mean, not saying we can't come back down and do weird stuff, but we should be in the, well, never say never. Yep. Yeah, that's why I kind of drew it down like this, MQ, so people would see like it could technically still come back in here. Would I expect it to go lower than $1.81? It better not. Like even coming down to $1.79, I'd be a little bit nervous. We don't really want it to come past anywhere past here, so I would like this to be the floor right now, and then kind of like look at it like this, almost like a descending. Maybe it's a descending consolidation like this, and then it, if it were to come back down one more time, but I think it's gapping out. Hopefully. That's beautiful, MQ. Thanks for sharing that right here at the end so everybody can see that. So they can see exactly what's starting to line up. But we'll see if this plays out in the positive or the negative tomorrow. Maybe 181, but it would have to be super soon. Absolutely. 786 is what, $1? Yeah, I think that's what it said right at $1.81 on yours. That's what I was looking at. I know we've been talking about $1.81 a lot, so that gives me a lot of clarity here too, that you would have that your fib set up like that at $1.81. Yeah, right there, 786 perfectly. And it looks like it extends down maybe to $1.8046 through the red. But it's definitely set up at 181.07. And I like that it came back here a couple of times. So hopefully we're done with the bigger movement down, and now we can start to figure out a base here to start pushing us up. The way it's consolidating back down slowly is nice. You want to see this little bit of contraction after we had a 2% move up for Bitcoin, a couple $1,000s. Pulling back and retesting maybe 50% of that move is never a bad thing before continuation. So I'm going to leave it there. I appreciate all of you so very greatly. And we'll do this again in the morning. And I can't wait to see where we're at, whether we're up, whether we're down from here, or whether we're stayed the same. We're going to take a look. We're going to navigate through the options that'll be closing at the end of trading day tomorrow. We'll try to navigate through the thinly traded weekend, and not just the new year, but we're going to have an escrow dump here coming. So if we're going to have a move here, I would expect us to be pretty volatile pretty soon here if we're going to have a move to the upside. So just stay tuned, and don't do anything dumb. Don't do anything dumb. I'm not telling you to do leverage. Just have a plan, one way or the other. And remember, this would only be the fourth wave up, which means the fifth wave down is going to bring you lower than the lowest lows we've seen so far out of this 5 waves. Well, the first 3 is 4th up, 5 down. So you'd probably come down. I don't want to speculate on that yet. Let's just worry about this movement up. And then if we break down, we know $1.57 next if we end up breaking this formation. And then we're going to have to deal with the repercussions. And we might end up going into a crypto winter. So let's not go down that road. Let's just power of positivity.